Hello, welcome to Web of Stories. My name is Melinda. First off, t-shirt check. Now, if you know me, you know Wuthering Heights is actually a 5-star book, but I liked this shirt because I figured people who give Wuthering Heights 5 stars would understand it and people who give it 1 star would agree with it. So I thought this was a do-all shirt, but I couldn't resist when I saw it. So anyway, I am here with my July book haul, which is here, and it's massive, because sadly, this was the month I got into Pango. I'm not selling anything on Pango, I'm just buying. In fact, this isn't the books. I bought more books on Pango that will be reflected here because I bought some keeper books, so books I've already read, but I want to have on my shelves, but great prices. But let's see here. I have 18 books here. However, one of them I've already read, and one I decided is not going on my TBR. And I'm going to start with that one. And this is a Pango. And it's this one, The Sagas of the Icelanders, with a preface by Jane Smiley. The reason this one isn't going on my TBR and then therefore isn't going to be in the count here is because I realized that I am not going to read this straight through. This is not that kind of book for me. This is more of a reference book, so it's a book I will look things up in. And my TBR is really for books I'm going to read cover to cover. So because this book serves a different purpose for me, it's not going to go on my TBR. It's going to be there for me when I need to look things up. You're going to see a pile grow over here. So the rest of these in the order they came in. And you're also going to see a lot by this particular author because I was reading a book by her and really enjoying it. So I bought a bunch more on Pango. So the first one I have here is Captive Queen, a novel of Eleanor of Aquitaine by Alison Weir. You're going to see a lot of Alison Weir on this list. I love Eleanor of Aquitaine. She is the original badass. I love her. And so I have read about Eleanor of Aquitaine and Alison Weir's work in her nonfiction. So I'm going to be interested to see how her fiction works with it. This will be, I think, the first time that I will be reading a novel of hers based on a character I've already read about in her nonfiction. So there's that. And then I have another Alison Weir. Innocent Traitor. This is a novel of Lady Jane Grey. It's a pretty good size for someone who reigned for 9 days. If you don't know who Lady Jane Grey is, there's a movie called Lady Jane, I think, Helena Bonham Carter, and Carrie Elwes. It's way back from the 80s. They're like super young in it. It's a great movie. But she was Edward the Sixth. I always get my Edwards mixed up. Henry VIII's son, who reigned as a youth, his cousin. And she was from a Protestant family. She's 16, 17 years old. And when he died, his uncle, Edward Seymour, and if you saw my videos about the Jane Seymour book, you'll know that name, sort of got him to circumvent what Henry VIII's wishes for the succession would be, and to skip Mary Tudor, who was a Catholic, and therefore also skip Elizabeth, who was a Protestant, but they were kind of a package deal at this point because it was a matter of skipping your sister sort of thing. Plus, Elizabeth being Anne Boleyn's daughter, there's always kind of a question about her legitimacy, but he wanted that Henry VIII's wishes were the succession to go from Edward to Mary to Elizabeth to his sister's kids, which would bring it up to the Stuarts in Scotland. The Seymours wanted to make sure that the crown stayed Protestant, and they knew, and Edward, who was sick, they knew if he died, it would go to Mary, who was Catholic. So they dug up this cousin who is a descendant of one of Henry VIII's sisters, Jane Grey, and they put her on the throne, and she did not come to a good end, which was really sad because she was just a girl. She was just a pawn. But go see the movie with Helena Bonham Carter and Carrie Elwes. It's very good. It's so 80s. It's so good. Okay. And then this book I heard about from Patrice at 2 Minutes on Books, and I got this for Historathon. I'm crooked. I got this thing to try to stay not crooked, and I'm already crooked again. Historathon Q4. This is The Slaves' War by Andrew Ward, the Civil War in the words of former slaves. I will say that the author is not African American, but he's focusing on the voices of African Americans, so that's good. You know, slavery is such a, it's why they fought the Civil War. Don't give me any of that state rights crap. States' rights to what? But you don't hear a lot of it from the slave side. So when she was talking about this book, I was like, I need to read this. And I got it from Pango. Okay. And then another one, did I get this? I did get this from Pango. This is one that's for Historathon next year. Someone told me about this book in reference to Gertrude, who was featured in the book The Far Traveler that I read this year, and it's also what prompted me to get Sagas of the Icelanders, because she's in there. But she's also in this book, which is the year 1000, when explorers connected the world and globalization began. This is a broader view, so it's not just Vikings. And I thought this would be a good book for Historathon next year. So add that to the pile. You know I love my Historathon books. This next book is a book for the Book Naturalist Book Club, and it's one that I've wanted to read for a long time. I've kind of, because I have so many books going, I've kind of like fallen off following the, reading each month with the Book Naturalist Book Club, because I've got too many books going. But this one they're reading at some point later in the year, and I've always wanted to read it too. I have heard great things about it. I believe that Fred at Read by Fred, I think he said this is his favorite book, and this is Lab Girl by Jahren. This is a memoir. Geobiologist Hope Jahren has spent her life studying trees, flowers, seeds, and soil. Lab Girl is her revelatory treatise on plant life, but is also a celebration of lifelong curiosity, humility, and passion that drives every scientist. So I thought that sounded really interesting, and I have been wanting to read it for a while. Thank you, Pango. And now we're going to step away from Pango, and we're going to go to Book of the Month. I got 3 books from Book of the Month. I can't remember which ones were my books and which one was the add-on, so I'm just going to tell you which ones I have. So the first one is The Summer Storms by Sarah MacLean. So I know who Sarah MacLean is. She's a pretty well-established romance writer of historical romance, which is not something that I actually read. But this is her first contemporary, and I don't think it's actually a romance. I think this is more like contemporary fiction. So I thought I'd give it a try. We'll see. I've heard it's kind of like, it's I don't know what it's like, but there you go. It'll be, hopefully I'll get to it this summer. If not, it'll be next summer, because summer, which is the same case with the next book, The Summer We Ran by Audrey Ingram. I don't know why I was in such a summer mood when my book of the month came up. And this is the summer of 1996. Tess Murphy's mom gave her 2 rules to abide by: keep quiet and stay out of trouble. Her mother landed a new job as a cook at an affluent Virginia estate and didn't want anything to risk the opportunity, least of all her outspoken teenage daughter. What no one saw coming was Tess falling deeply in love with the boy next door, high society Grant Alexander. So this is like a little summer romance. I don't know if this is considered adult or YA. If anyone's read this, let me know if this is YA or adult. Not that it really makes a difference, but I need to get in the right mindset if it's YA. You're starting to see the pile up here. And then finally, this is an author who I have read in the past and really enjoyed. I didn't know she was coming out with a new book. And when I saw that she was, I immediately ordered it. And that is The View from Lake Como by Adriana Trigiani. She wrote Big Stone Gap was the book that sort of put her on the map. Italian-American writer. This is Jess Capodimonte Barata is not living the life of her dreams, not even close. In blue-collar Lake Como, New Jersey, family comes first. Recently divorced from Bobby Bilancia, the perfect husband, Jess moves into her parents' basement to hide and heal. Jess is the overlooked daughter who dutifully takes care of her parents, cooks Sunday dinner, and puts herself last. Despite her role as the family handmaiden, Jess is also a talented draftswoman in the marble business run by her dapper uncle Louis. It's Louis. It's not Louis, it's Louis. Who believes she can do anything once she invests in a better wardrobe. When the Capodimonte and Barretta families endure an unexpected loss, the shock unearths long-buried secrets that will force Jess to question her loyalty to those she trusted. Fueled by her lost dreams, Jess takes fate into her own hands and escapes to her ancestral home, Carrara, Italy. So then I'm sure it's finding herself but hey, it's in Italy on Lake Como. I'm there for this. Okay, I can get back out of here. Now we're gonna go to more Alison Weir. And this is a book that I heard about. I think it might have a different title in the UK. I'm not quite sure. And I always thought when I heard about this book coming out, I'm like, I'm not reading that. I don't need to read a book about this person because I'd rather hear about his wives. You should know who I'm talking about. But then as I started reading the 6 Tudor Wives series, I felt like I wanted to read this. I wanted to get the other side, and that is The King's Pleasure, a novel of Henry VIII. So I will be holding on to this till after I finish the 6 Tudor Wives book. So I'm going to read all that, probably give it a little while, and then I will read this. So there you go. That, by the way, is not kind of how I expected him to look. He looks, I don't know. That doesn't look like Henry VIII to me. Okay, the next 2 books I've mentioned that I have ordered before, and they came. So now I can read them. I got these from Bookshop. And one of my best books of the year, if you've been watching, one of my best books so far is Farthing by Jo Walton. So I got the next 2 books in that series, the final 2 books in the trilogy, however you want to say it. This is the next one. Halfpenny, 1949. England has completed its slide into fascist dictatorship. The last hopes of democracy seem extinguished. Then a bomb explodes in a London suburb. The brilliant but compromised Inspector Carmichael of Scotland Yard is assigned to the case. What he finds leads him to a conspiracy of peers and communists, of staunch king and country patriots and hardened IRA gunmen to murder the prime minister and his ally, Adolf Hitler. So if you missed it, this is alternate history. Germany in 1941, Germany won World War II in this alternate universe by conquering continental Europe. So England is an ally. They're separate from Nazi Germany, but there's definitely things in common. So there's that. And then Half a Crown. And this is in 1941, the European war ended in the Farthing Peace, a rapprochement between Britain and Nazi Germany. The balls and banquets of Britain's upper classes never faltered, while British ships ferried undesirables across the channel to board the cattle cars headed east. That's fun. Peter Carmichael is a commander of the Watch, the British secret police. It's his job to warn the Prime Minister of treason, arrest plotters, and discover Jews. The midnight knock of a watchman is the most dreaded sound in the realm. So it kind of looks like Peter Carmichael switched sides. We'll see. Now in 1960, a global peace conference is convening in London, where Britain, Germany, and Japan will oversee the final partition of the world. Hitler is once again on British soil. So is the long-exiled Duke of Windsor. Whoa! Which is interesting, because if you know anything about the Duke of Windsor, he was kind of a buddy with the Nazis. That's interesting. And the rising gangs of British power street fighters who consider the government soft and maybe the former king's bid to stage a coup d'etat. Amidst all this, 2 of the most unlikely persons in the realm will join forces to oppose the fascists. A debutante whose greatest worry until now has been where to find the right string of pearls, and the watch commander himself. So that's Half a Crown. Okay. And then we have the one book that I have read so far that I got in this month that I read this month, and that is Pericles. Okay. We're back with Alison Weir, and this one is The Lady Elizabeth. I don't think I need to tell you who this is about. It's about Elizabeth. And it looks like it's about Elizabeth before she becomes queen. So in that time, it looks like it's set in the time when Mary Tudor is queen. So her sister, who is Catholic. So that all goes together. I will probably read this after I read The Captive, whatever the Lady Jane Grey one was. I got lots of Tudors here. Lots of Tudors. Okay. And then this next book is the third quarter Bookcoupers read along. And I was like, I can finally, so the first one they did was Haunting of Hill House, which I couldn't do because I'm already doing that with my Ketchick's class up in October. The second one was The Good House by Tanana Reeve-Dew, which I had read before. So this month, it's this book, or this time, it's this book, The Upstairs House by Julia Fine. I don't know anything about this. Problem is, I think I'm gone when they have their discussion, so I'm not sure if I can even be part of the discussion, but I thought I could finally at least read the book along with them. So thank you, Pango. Okay, the next 2 books are my aardvark books because, of course, I got too many books. Why stop? why stop? So this first one is not really my style of book, but I have read the author before. And this is The Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping. This is cozy fantasy, probably a little romance. I read The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna before, and I actually enjoyed it more than I thought I would. So I decided I'm definitely going to read this one at some point. Not sure when, but I have that. And then this one, okay, this one I bought because I kept seeing like ads for it pop up in my like Facebook feed. So like apparently the algorithm, the meta algorithm thought I needed to read this book. But here we go. The Original Daughter by Jemimah Way. It's the original daughter. I'll read a little bit of this. Before Aaron, Genevieve Yang was an only child, living with her parents and grandmother in a single-room flat in working-class Singapore. Genevieve is saddled with an unexpected sibling when Aaron appears, the shameful legacy of a grandfather now long believed to be dead. As the girls grow closer, they must navigate the intensity of life in a brutally competitive place where the insistence of achievement demands constant sacrifice. So, it's a sister book in Singapore. Crazy Rich Asians kind of thing. It's probably what it is. I don't know. We'll go. Okay, and then finally, last book. It's another Alison Weir. It's another Tudor Alison Weir novel. And this is The Passionate Tudor, a novel of Queen Mary I. There you go. We're now into Queen Mary. We've got Mary, we've got Henry, we've got Mary, we've got Jane, we've got Elizabeth. I'm reading the wives. I'm sure she did the earlier Tudors, and she's done stuff before that. I'm very slowly reading through all of the Alison Weir. I don't know when I'm going to get to all these, but hey, they're there for me to fill up my shelves in the meantime. But yes, so there we go. 18 books, of which I have read one, and we all know what I thought of that. Now, I say this every month, but I don't know what my book buying for August is going to be because I'm going to be on vacation, and I do plan to hit at least a couple bookstores while I'm gone. So, but I'm not going to let myself buy anything off Pango because that's been an issue. Pango. Yes. So I think I got the Pango out of my system. We're going to try and control this, try to keep it. I don't think I have any pre-orders coming in August. Let me see here. Come on, my spreadsheet is slow. Come on, well, it's being slow. Well, it's thinking. I don't think I have any pre-orders coming in August. Why are you slow? Why aren't you doing what I want you to do? I'm going to try to limit myself to one book of the month and one artwork, or skip them if there's nothing that really appeals to me. Keep it down in case I do buy some books. Now, with all this, I do have to say, I don't have to do any extra purging at the end of this month because I'm still giving the books that I've read, and there were some books that I kind of purged because I realized I wasn't going to read them, like that one. With all of that, I'm still kind of below my number. I can't tell. My computer's deciding not to move, so I can't tell if you have any pre-orders or not. I don't think I do. I don't think I have any pre-orders until September. So hopefully August will be a little more under control. We'll see. I'm not going to go to Pango. I'm not going to buy any more Alison Weir. There you go. We'll see. So if you see any of these that you would like to buddy read with me, please let me know. We can work that in. Yeah, probably not going to do any buddy reads until September. It's probably because August I'm going to be gone. I'm also trying to limit myself to 3 buddy reads a month. And I know I have at least one buddy read scheduled for September, which is Anna of Cleve with Michelle. But yeah, if you'd like to buddy read, and I think Patrice said something about wanting to buddy read something with me in September. We'll figure it out. Anyway, if you're interested in buddy reading any of these, please let me know. If you've read any of these and you have any thoughts, please let me know. You know the drill. Like, subscribe, join my Discord. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.